And count it. That's 2. You there. That's 3.
Lord, help me get one more. Help me get one more.
There we go. That's 6.
Help me get one more.
29.
One more. Help me get one more.
34. Give me my knife back.
Last week, I set out on a quest. There was no promise of riches, no guarantee of safe return. When I cast off from safer shores, it was just me, Security Director Arthur Ford, my burly hands, and every fat caboose in the Metaverse. If you were like me as a kid, you were convinced that in the next 20 years, video games were going to be just like real life. You'd be able to put on some goggles and enter into any experience you wanted.
Wow.
So that's pretty neat.
This is so freaking cool.
Back then, we had classics like Spyro the Dragon and Mario Kart. And today we've got this. But we'll come back to that. I think you're going to need a little context. Boneworks is a game released in 2019 by Stress Level Zero. It's an experimental physics simulator,
Even in the Metaverse, I suck at sports.
masquerading as a story-based adventure game. Kinda like how Counter-Strike Source is a texture pack for Gary's mod, masquerading as a world-class competitive first-person shooter. Boneworks has it all. It's got puzzles,
There is an automatic machine gun around the corner. We're gonna Toy Story this one. Oh yeah. Well, that's a wall.
it's got optical illusions, it's got moral dilemmas that make the trolley problem look like a Fisher-Price toy.
I know I look like a clipboard, but I'm actually fully sentient. Please don't throw me into the recycling. I've just become aware of my reality and I can't go back to the...
Boneworks is a terrible name for the game. The realistic physics and brutalist urban scenery make it feel much more like real life than a game.
Yo, they got Campbell's in the Metaverse.
A more fitting name would be Real Life 2, now with more guns. Unless you live in Philadelphia. Then it's just Real Life 2. Boneworks opens by warping you into the consciousness of Arthur Ford, presenting you with a unique opportunity to live the life of an average height, characteristically neutral white male. Unlike other VR games, Boneworks requires you have a good set of VR legs on you, and a good sense of your general surroundings. It demos the basic mechanics of metaversal traversal in the Museum of Technical Demonstration, and rewards each baby step with this neat, joyous sound.
What the hell?
Just like every half-decent museum I've ever been to, the Museum of Technical Demonstration allows you to lift weights, swing hammers, and employ military-grade firearms without supervision. Afterwards, you're haphazardly dumped into the Metaverse. Sorry, the MythOS, with little context as to why you're there and where you're going. Before you have time to make sure your moral compass is aligned, the game thrusts you into your first encounter with a humanoid character. Here you gain your first pungent taste of cognitive dissonance. On one hand, you have an innate desire to help that which you can empathize with. On the other hand, you have a brick, and it has a head. The first enemies in Boneworks are called null bodies. They're casually dismissed as unfeeling, non-sentient AI husks, but Cortana never cried out into the void when I deleted her from the taskbar.
We'll just... That'll do. And... one for good luck.
Feeling a little less live, laugh, love now, aren't you? The game will ask you to do things you didn't think your bare hands were capable of.
Please keep door closed at all times.
You'll do muscle up after muscle up to climb to a vantage point, just to break and enter into someone's studio apartment.
Now he's dead.
You'll produce more food waste than is responsible for the average consumer. You'll smash the like and subscribe button, not because it's what I deserve, but because it's the right thing to do. I've played several of the top VR first-person shooters on the market. Boneworks, despite not being an action shooter, stands up there with the best of them. The bullet physics have a real bite to them. You can feel the weight of your 1911 as you wastefully mag dump into an unarmed wooden crate. Every time you forget what the optics do, your Modern Warfare 2 PTSD pulls you back to your mental center.
Aiming deliberately down your sights, aim down your sight at the target. You gotta aim down your sight. Aiming down your sight, aim down your sight by aiming down your sight.
The physics feel so real that I got used to jumping without ever leaving the ground. When a Twitch viewer convinced me that jumping in real life makes you jump higher in the game, I could faintly hear Eminem's proverbial teachings resounding in the background.
Snap back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity.
The game's puzzles are simple yet engaging. Most of the time they can be solved by pushing this, pulling that, and using your noodle. But when that inevitably fails, you'll devolve into an angry monkey, scaling flat surfaces with only your bare hands and thoughtless howls. But I digress. In his best-selling book, Amar Towles states that if a man does not master his circumstances, then he is bound to be mastered by them.
Oh no. This presents issues. Oh!
And so, in order to win the mental game, to become the master of my virtual circumstance, I set out to wallop every keister that came my way. Beginning at the infamous "and then there were none" cinderblock drop scene in the 3rd level of the campaign, I carved a single notch in my gun for every booty we plundered, and I quickly ran out of gun. That's the real treasure of Boneworks. It has outstanding weapons physics, but it doesn't care if you play it as a shooter. It has death-defying puzzles that make you stop and consider your mortality, but you're gonna end up going ape mode regardless. It has challenging enemies that genuinely make you feel in danger, but that's not why you want to defeat them. Boneworks doesn't seek to answer the question, what does it mean to be sentient? It seeks to ask the question, what do we do when we have another's sentience forced upon us? And it answers it with a Mach 10 and reckless abandon. By the time you've left the Facebook HQ and entered the sewers, the Metaverse has taken all the empathy you have left. You're a mindless booty bandit, a mad hiney harrier, a tushy terrorist who has, in the words of Captain John Price,
with vigor in our hearts and one goal in sight, we will.
But I think that's the beauty of Boneworks. It teaches you that if you gaze long enough into the Metaverse,
Man, he is just wide open.
the Metaverse also gazes back into— oh, wait a sec, I'm not even half close to finishing the story. Forget everything I just said. Boneworks mods open up a whole new world of opportunities. It's got Super Mavro 64. It's got VTOL VR 2. It's even got cringe. Just take a quick peek at the search results of Boneworks on— actually, don't do that. Just buy the game. If you want the game that will provide the metaphorical source engine for the VR future, the game that will make you wonder whether you're a decent person, and the game that will definitively answer that question with a hard no,
Get you a little bit of this.
you can find Boneworks on Steam for $30. If you've come this far, I hope something in this video made you exhale air just a little bit more forcefully. If it didn't, I wish you the best of days, all the same. Also, I stream most weeknights at 7 p.m. Eastern Daily Time. Please come whack me with a crowbar.